The show up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Had a little bit of technical difficulties here, but it is a great weekend. It is Friday. It is raining here. We're actually in New Orleans celebrating Mother's Day weekend with my mom. So we're really excited about this show today, not only because we're doing live from New Orleans, but because of special guest that we have today. And she's been on our show so many times. She's like family. So first of all, let me tell you the title of the show, which is called Why She Is Well. So I'm conversation with Dr. Stacey Bulluck. She is the CEO, transformational speaker, evangelist, media host, and author. And she wants to talk about how do we know she is well? She will sustain her wellness? That's a question mark. So let's go over a little bit about Dr. Stacy. So Dr. Bullock is the owner, founder of Power and Resilience Workforce Development and Life Coaching Agency. She provides workforce development training and individual life skills training through the coaching agency. She is the president and CEO of Order Steps Incorporated, a nonprofit serving homeless women and formerly incarcerated women veterans. She's a best-selling author of 2 spiritual self-help books, and her latest book is called Are You Present? She's a transformational speaker, certified John Maxwell leadership coach, a civil servant, an ordained evangelist, and host of Tools for Everyday Living, a TV show available on YouTube and all social media platforms. And you know what? She's also a military veteran. So please, everybody, welcome back to the show, Dr. Stacey Bulluck. Yay!
Hi, Dr. Cooley.
Hi, Stacy. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well over here in sunny Texas right now. And you all are in a place that I just left a few weeks ago. So, yeah, we're doing good.
You came to New Orleans a couple of weeks ago?
I was there about a month ago for a friend of mine. She premiered her documentary on domestic violence.
Oh,
You met
okay,
her. You all
okay.
have been. She's been on your show, Carolyn Ayers.
Yes, yes, Carolyn. Yes. Well, that is great. That is great. And audience, it's your life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We're on over 80 live streaming platforms. And if you want to join in the conversation, if you have any questions or comments to ask Dr. Stacey Bulluck, please just send them in and we will address them to her. So, Dr. Stacey, let's get to the point. First of
Yeah,
all, what is with this title, Why She Is Well? It can mean so many different things, but can you explain the title itself and we'll dig more into the actual conversation?
absolutely. So again, let me, before I forget, I was rude. Thank you all for having me. I so appreciate you all. It is always an honor and a privilege, a blessing to sit down and talk with you all. This title it came from a women's wellness event that I spoke on Saturday, actually just past Saturday. And I thought, what in the world better way? And next thing is happy Mother's Day to you all out there who are moms. And those of you who don't have physical children, I probably would guarantee that you may have some maternal instincts and you have been mothering someone. So the wellness event is called She Is Well. And I wanted to come on and remind us why she is well. And we have to keep this mindset right before us every day. I was just talking before we came on the air and saying that, I'm here and I'm thriving even in a difficult situation sometimes. And we all face difficult situations, but we have to remember to keep this mindset that I am well. There is nothing that is going to be so bad that I cannot overcome. So I remain well.
I like that. Just listening to the title, I was like, okay, this can mean so many different things, but I'm glad you explained it. So, let's get to the meat and heart of it. So, what exactly does it mean that she was created to regenerate, replace, restore, and revive?
Okay, good question. So, if we go from the standpoint of what I consider as how the woman was created from the rib of man, particularly Adam. And then I've studied the ribs. And the rib can regenerate itself. The rib can renew and have a whole new rib there. But guess what? Other bones don't do that, but the rib does. And my interpretation of what this means is that the purpose of she, and I'll break that down a little bit further later as well. She, in this particular instance, we're speaking of the physical woman, but the physical woman is the representation of the characteristics and traits that a person has who is well and is a well. But I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Okay, okay. Well, how does the rib symbolize a woman's inner strength? How does it really symbolize a woman's inner strength?
It symbolizes a woman's inner strength. Just popped in my head. Things pop in my head often. I try not to digress, but the rib came from inside of something else. It came from a place of need. So when we think of a woman, guess what? There's no other species that can reproduce another human being or animal for that matter, except the female species, whether it be four-legged or two-legged. It is the strength of the community. She represents the care of the community, the expansion of the community. She represents the ability to grow. She represents the ability to renew something that might be lost. She represents the ability to bring something into existence. And we all need to have that demonstration. However, the woman, physical woman, she actually has the capability to do that.
Wow. What is the acronym for WELL? I mean, can you kind of well, we know it's WELL, but do you have any specific adjectives or words that you want to attach to those letters?
Absolutely. 18 years of Uncle Sam's Army conditioned me to look at things different and begin to express it in a way where I can give a meaning to it with using the letters. So WELL, I had coined winning excellence while living and loving. Winning means that, this is a confidence booster, regardless of how big or how small the win. Take it as a win. When we wake up in the morning, take it as a win. I have another opportunity to change some things in my life if I want to today. I'm winning. I got to do that in an excellent manner. And while I'm doing this thing in an excellent manner, I have this thing, this phrase I say, always be awesome. That just simply means that in every situation, you're going to bring the best. You're going to bring the excellence. And with that, now we'll be able to live, because we're not going to be bogged down with a whole bunch of worries and, anxieties. And now the best part of all, we get to share love, not just with others, but we share love with ourselves. That's how we win. That's how we stay well.
Wow. So before we go to break, how does a woman really know she's well, and how is that awareness so important?
I hate to laugh because it's really not funny, because there's so many of us walking around, not just women, but human beings. Humans, I'll take the being part off, because when we're being, we are actually making it happen, making us happen, making us our existence in the earth. We make it seen. We don't have to worry about, oh, is somebody seeing me? Do they see me? Can they see who I really am? You make that happen. You go in and you shine so bright they can't help but to see you. But let me get back to the importance of this awareness. It's so important because we now come to this realization of who we are. We begin to identify with the characteristics, that are within us. We begin to realize, wait a minute, I have a quality, I have a distinction, I am somebody. Instead of us living in a mindset of nobody sees me, nobody cares. You care. You care for you and build yourself up.
Well, thank you, Dr. Stacy. We have to take a commercial break right now, but audience, hey, please join the conversation. It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley. He'll be joining us shortly. It's Your Life. Come and join us. Comments, questions for our guest today, Dr. Stacey Bulluck. See you back.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show. It's your life every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
In this life, you are gonna grow.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
In this life, you are gonna grow. But there's things in this world that you gotta know. To be the best that you can be, you wanna grow real big into a strong tree. To be who you're created to be, the one who's gonna leave a legacy is you. But you got to have these 4 C's. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. It's the 4 C's. Gotta have these, oh yeah. It's the 4 C's.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hi, welcome back to It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley, who will be with us shortly. Technical difficulties on his side. I'm Dr. Michelle Cooley, and our guest again is Dr. Stacey Bulluck. Yeah! And, you know, we have been having a very interesting conversation regarding the topic, why she is well. And she kind of broke it down for us exactly what this actually means. So let's continue this conversation. Again, whatever live stream platform you're watching this show, please comment, ask questions, and Dr. Stacy will be able to answer them. So Dr. Stacy, what does it mean for her to be a well within, and how does that impact her community?
She has, it's something about this us female species. Some people call it what do they say, intuition, or how does she know? Well, she knows because she was wired to know. She was wired to, and some people might think, oh, she's just nosy. No, she was wired to be inquisitive. She's wired to have a discernment of sorts because she's responsible for so many things. Her family, that's her first community, is her family. Her second community is those around her and those that she interacts with every day. But this well that she has within, we have to make sure that we continue to nurture it, because that's where the wisdom comes from. The strength comes from the intuition, which we may want to call an inner resource. I don't know if I know myself personally. I might necessarily walk down the street or just driving down the street, and all of a sudden an idea will come to me. Or if we're having an issue in the household, or having an issue at work, and when I say issue, I don't mean it as a negative. I mean it as a life thing. Life is lifing, and we need to figure it out. And she has that well within, because guess what? she has the capability to restore, to nurture, to renew, to actually maybe, necessarily go into the soil of humanity and be able to give it its nutrients of what it needs. If we think about a mother who is carrying a fetus, the nutrients come from the mother directly to the fetus. And so we have the ability to do that. And man, I'm telling you, you're talking about some. Now, I don't like the word necessarily strong. Later, when we come back, I wrote down an acronym for strong as well, because I think it sometimes has a negative connotation. And we need to sometimes rewrite the narrative of how we want to speak about ourselves.
Most definitely. You mentioned that she is inquisitive. Now, some people take that, not what you said, but as inquisitive as being nosy or asking too many questions. But I'm an inquisitive person too. Just because someone tells me something, or you're telling me something, I'm like, I want to hear some more about it. Dig deep. Because that's the only way you're going to gather enough information to make a very informed, life-changing decision. So even though it sounds good, you have to dig more about what's really being presented to you. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely, because if we don't have the necessary ingredients that we need to make an informed decision, that could cause the situation itself to become worse. We want to make sure that we're not always just relying on our experiences. We need to tap into that well within, that place that is not necessarily always up at the forefront of our minds, but it's in there to say, oh yeah, I remember when I was a little girl, and I'm only using this as a metaphor here. Some of us who learn how to cook from grandmothers, aunties, moms, and when we get older, we say, oh, you know what? I remember when my mother used to do this. And now we can just, demonstrate that those same traits. And I believe that we are all equipped with traits that we have been taught through experience in life. And this is where we have to make sure that we don't allow our experiences to dictate negative behavior. If it were a negative situation, we have to find a way to learn from it and use it as a positive. I always say we can use our negative experiences as a catalyst to help us to get to the next place that we need to get to in life. Well, I don't want the show to lag, so I'm going to, because I dearly love my friends, and I know that there we go. Here she comes. Yes.
Here I am. I'm sorry. I'm here talking. I'm not on screen. So let's talk about the pearls creation.
Oh, wow.
Okay. First of all, what is it? And what does it teach us about growth through adversity?
Whew. Okay. So the pearl has become one of my favorite gems after studying it. And I believe that the representation, that it has for life is it shows us that we can take our obstacles and they can turn into a beautiful thing, because the pearl is, I won't say birth, but it is created through adversity. And the adversity comes when this sand or small substance gets into the membrane of the oyster, and it just aggravates it. Sometimes just like the washing machine, it has to agitate to get the clothes clean. So when this process happens, which is called shucking, what happens is someone will go in and literally open up and take down what is the barrier on the outside of the shell, but then on the inside of the shell, that substance that was becoming a disturbance to the oyster has turned into a space where it's layered in this crystalline substance, and the substance is turned, the disturbance is turned into the pearl. And the longer it stays in there, the more precious the gem. And how this equates, in my opinion, to life is that sometimes there are some disturbances that come our way. But this is all of this is the process that we must go through at that time to get this gem, this beauty that comes out. And guess what? It's the only gem that when it comes out, it is ready. Doesn't need to go through the fire like diamonds. It doesn't need to have anything done to it by humanity. It is created and ready when how can I say, when displayed to the world. So you're going to be ready when you get displayed. Don't worry.
Well, I think some people probably might ask themselves or you, how can we view life's disturbances as opportunities to develop into something precious? No one likes the word disturbances connotates a negative reaction. So it's never really correlated with something positive, but sometimes life's challenges, especially life's disturbances, are opportunities to develop into something precious. Can you kind of go into that?
So, like I was saying, the longer the substance, the longer the irritation, the longer the thing that is bothering us or seemingly bothering us, plaguing us, if we just stop to take a moment and say, okay, wait a minute, what am I supposed to learn from this? How do I get to a point where I always use the word automatic? How do I automatically switch my mindset when something could possibly be potentially seen as a negative experience in my life? How do we change that? How do we change the mindset when someone has done us wrong? But sometimes we can't even get an apology from them because guess what? They may not even be here any longer. So now what you going to do? You're going to continue to be upset, mad, bitter, and that person is not even in existence anymore. So no, we have to find a way to use that situation. It could turn into a whole nonprofit. It could turn into a whole business, because if you had a need that wasn't met because of something that happened to you, or something, something that sometimes we cause things to happen to ourselves. But if, I'll use we haven't heard of them in a long time. Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Yes.
It was created because of an incident that a mother experienced, and she made that experience something positive to help somebody else. That's the key. How are we going to help somebody else with our issue?
Oh, I like that. And sometimes you have to, like you mentioned, like an example of apology. Someone's done something to you. They may not even realize it. They may not even be here, or they just may not even care. Let's just put it that way. Oh, they may not even understand where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. However, we will go a little bit more into that, but into the topic more in depth, titled Why She Is Well. Got to take a commercial break. Hey, if you want to join us, please, whatever social media platform you're watching the show, send us questions, comments. It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Stacy Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be honored to be in the Coffee Book 2023. Unified Brain Z and the other organizations, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection.
I've seen a smile convey I love you. I'm proud of who you are, the one that keeps us. I've seen a smile convey I love you. I'm proud of who you are, the one that keeps us close when we're apart. Walking from the darkness of all that we've been through, it seems that there might be a way to leave behind the loneliness we've known and live again a life of
Hello, back to the show. It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley and Dr. Michelle Cooley. I am filling in for Dr. James J.C. Cooley today as the host. He's having some technical difficulties, but you know what? We got this, and we got the amazing Dr. Stacey Bulluck with us. Yay! With the title of today's show, Why She Is Well. And audience, again, if you want to join in the conversation, please, whatever platform you're watching the show, type in your questions, send in your comments, and Dr. Stacy will answer all of them. So, Dr. Stacy, now this word is very, it may seem like to, those of color. So what barriers might she face, and how does the process of shucking relate to overcoming them? Now, I say the word shucking because sometimes people, associate that with, shucking and diving and just stereotypes. So can you answer that and kind of go into that?
Well, let me help us to hopefully think about that word shucking a little different, for several reasons. I'm going to tell you, that's what it's called when the oyster is being released, when the pearl, not the oyster, but the pearl is being released. Well, the oyster is being released too, because it's now no longer having that disturbance. But you know what? I remember my family is from the South. And so they always used to say, well, let's go out here and shuck these peas. And during that time, guess what? There was most likely a few women around. And we're not just focusing on women today, because this thought pattern, this mindset can help all of humanity, men and women. But just think about how you sat around, and I've seen photographs and artwork where there's this little girl who's just staring up and looking at this role model in this figure of a woman, and they're shucking peas. Some people call it snapping, but the technical term for releasing the gem, the pearl, is called shucking. So I'm hoping that has given us some solace to say, wait a minute, maybe it's not as bad as it seems. And that's what I meant too when I said earlier about the word strong, because it can be used as something that the meaning of what the person is saying can be good. However, the word itself can be something that is negative connotation. And so, now thank you for the opportunity to share with the world that shucking is not bad. It's not always, somebody trying to get over on somebody, shucking and jiving. It's not always somebody trying to, use somebody inappropriately. It is a bonding moment when it happens for those of us who grew up in the South. It's like, oh, I get to sit down and gain wisdom. So we just have to take our mindset and begin to think about things in a different way so that we don't get stuck and become unwell.
Wow. It's amazing how a positive word or simple word can be associated with something negative. For example, oh, she's really a strong woman. But some people may use that word sarcastically, like she's overbearing. So I'm glad you explained the whole terminology of what shucking really means, even though it is used in different contexts for different things. But from the topic you're discussing now, it is something positive.
Right.
And it's something life-changing. So, Dr. Stacy, let's talk about strengthened, healed, and established. We know what those words mean, but how are those words put together that should be demonstrated in daily life?
And that's my acronym for SHE.
Ooh.
Strengthened, healed, and established. So when we go through this process of life, these steps and series to get to an end goal, sometimes doing that doesn't always have the best feeling. And I read somewhere that once you have endured, then is when we become strengthened, healed, and established. We have to look at this process as, for physical, we need to be strengthened in our emotions. We need to be strengthened in our spiritual well-being. We have to foster this sense of security and permanency in our heart to ensure that, no matter what happens in life, I know who I am. She is strengthened, healed, and established. We could lose everything. I think I lost everything maybe twice. And I came back as a strengthened human being. It actually caused me to become the being that I am today, because now I have learned how to, first of all, be resilient. Second of all, learned how to make things happen. That's the simple explanation of being, is we have the ability to make things happen. We have the ability to bring things into existence. I have a lot of art around here that I've done. Matter of fact, you can see actually some of it hanging on the wall. was in existence, but it wasn't going to be permanently in existence until I photographed it and put it on canvas and then put a frame around it. Now, guess what? It is going to be here to every time I turn around and look at those photographs, I'm strengthened and become more confident in who I am and my character of what I can accomplish.
Wow. So, what lifestyle and choices contribute to maintaining a consistent state of she being whole?
Lifestyle. I wrote down, I'll actually show you the piece of paper. Look. And I was just sitting and thinking about today and being on your wonderful show. And I wrote this down, that this things about being well is going to take effort. It's going to take energy. And we just talked about making things happen. We cannot say, oh my goodness, I can't come back from this. Well, you're still breathing, so you can. But it's going to take some effort. It's going to take energy. It's going to take innovation. It's going to take motivation. It's going to take that's for the inner, but it's also going to take some exercise. It's going to take some sleeping well. It's going to take drinking enough water. It's going to take us finding out, what is it going to take for me to be well spiritually, physically, financially, vocationally, and in my relationships? What is it going to take for me to be well? But as I'm talking, and I wrote that little note to myself about it, and I said, nothing that we talk about today can be actually physically seen. We can see the demonstration of how a person might feel about themselves on the outside. But I know some beautiful people who have some really dark souls and they don't really love themselves. But let's make sure that we don't look to detect something from a person from their outward appearance. Always know that a person is well when their demonstration shows that of consistent resilience.
Wow. I love that statement. And, you know, well is not in material things. It's not externally, it's internally. It's about what gives you peace, what gives you purpose, knowing who you are, and always taking care of yourself. I mean, there's nothing wrong. You know, some people think that, you know, if you're married, children and everything, or just have a lot of responsibility like she does, that, you know, being maybe focusing on yourself may seem selfish, but it's not selfish. How can I give to you if I'm not well? Exactly. I'm just walking around like, what they call it. There's a show called The Walking Dead. It really is. It's The Walking Dead. It's like you're just existing, but you're not living. It's just a day by day. Your heart is beating, your brain is working, you're talking, you're speaking, everything, et cetera, but you're just existing and not living because you're not well. And you have to figure out in you how to get there. Before we take a break in about a minute or so, what are your comments on what I just said?
Well, the saying goes, we can't pour from an empty cup. So you have to make sure that you keep your cup full. You do what you need to do. Like for myself, I'm so glad I discovered yoga about 2.5 years ago, because it definitely is something that has brought a access to peace, access to strength, access to knowing me. Because while I'm doing yoga, I'm concentrating on, yes, the physical, but I'm also concentrating concentrating on the inner me and what is it that you want. Sunday, while I was away, I wanted to have a conversation with some ladies, and we did.
Dr. Stacy, I want you to hold that thought. We got to go to break. Audience, we have one more segment. If you want to join the conversation, whatever social media platform you're watching the show on, provide your questions and comments, and we'll be right back. It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be right back in a minute or so.
Welcome to Viridian Christian University, where faith and learning come together to transform lives. At VCU, we believe that education is more than just academics. It's about fostering a community of growth, integrity, and purpose. Whether you're pursuing a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate, VCU offers flexible, affordable, and 100% online degree programs that cater to your busy life. Our innovative platform provides a personalized learning experience, empowering you to thrive in today's ever-evolving world. Join a global community of learners guided by an experienced faculty who are committed to your success. With VCU, you're not just earning a degree, you're preparing for a future that integrates faith, leadership, and service. Viridian Christian University, educating with purpose, transforming lives. Learn more at ViridianChristianUniversity.com. ViridianChristianUniversity.com.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love.
Life is filled with circles and cycles, phases and stages that shape who we are. These moments define us, and we have the choice to either accept or embrace them. Hello, I'm Dr. Michelle.
Yeah. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Yeah.
Welcome back to the
Welcome back to the show. It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Dr. Cooley's joining us. He's having a little bit of technical issues, but he's here. Okay, well, we're still having technical issues. So
bits and pieces.
Dr. Cooley will be joining us once his internet so stabilized. But we're back. It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley, with our guest, Dr. Stacey Bulluck. And the title of the show is Why She Is Well. And audience, again, we have time. Come on, ask questions, provide comments, and Dr. Stacey will address this. And we have a comment or question from A. Lee. Stacey, how did you get to the point where you start believing in yourself?
Ooh. I believe it happened when I was forced one of those times to bounce back from literally losing everything. And once you begin to rebuild, once you have your mind renewed, once you allow your mind to know that it needs to be renewed, that's when you can start believing in yourself. I believe what happens, actually, you start believing in yourself first, and then you take action. Let's say I needed to get a new car because my vehicle broke down, which actually has happened to me a couple times. And I have to figure out, well, what is it that I need to do to get this new car? And then when it happens, you're like, oh, wow, that was easier than I thought. And sometimes we do this thing that's called anticipatory anxiety, which we anticipate something that will be negative. And in actuality, once we actually decide to go forward with our plan, then we realize I had the answer all along. And at that point, now it's up to us to continue to maintain what we're building on.
Wow. Why is it important for she to tap into the origin of who she is and where she came from?
Well, as we talked about in the beginning of the show, her origin is a place of, how can I say, her origin is a place of regeneration and renewal. Like we talked about the rib that, I believe that the woman was created from. And so that particular that particular, not necessarily a metaphor, but the actual rib regenerates. It will regrow itself.
Mhm.
Unlike other bones will fuse to a bone, but the rib will regenerate. I mean, you'll have a new rib. And that, goes with the myth of, some people would say, oh, a man has one less rib than a woman. Nope, we all have the same amount. We all have 12 on each side. And that's because the ability for humanity to regenerate, to regrow, is possible. We just have to believe and have the confidence that we're able to do that. Now, I don't know if I answered your question, but
Yeah, you did.
okay. All right, great.
Well, Ailey has another question. She goes, what is your definition of self-love?
All right, Ailey, throwing in the curveballs. No, I'm just kidding. But my definition of self-love is when we find ourselves in a situation that we may have caused, and it may not be great, and the outcome is not going to be great. But in the midst of that, guess what? We still love us. I said, when you fall in love with you, that will just about annihilate any ills of rejection, which we face all the time. It could be a small rejection. Somebody just said, oh, no, we don't have that product in our store, or no, you don't qualify for this or that. Whatever the no is to. Guess what? I love me so much, and you should love you so much, that whenever they say it, there's not even a sting, because you're in love with you. Not to say you're conceited or arrogant, but you're in love with who you are and who you are becoming, and you believe and trust in yourself and know that you have the ability to regenerate.
And also, it's also about being honest with who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Strengths, weaknesses, faults, just knowing who you are and just being honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dr. Stacy, what role does excavation play in her becoming a deeper well of strength and influence?
Excavation, I looked that word up. I'm a word girl, so I'm always studying words. And I looked it up, and I was looking at it just not too long ago, actually. And it means to expand. When you just think of what we just talked about, some of the rejections, some of the things that we don't like, some of the things that we don't want to feel, some of the things that we don't want to deal with. Well, guess what? We're going to have to dig through it. And that's what excavation is. When they go underground and they begin to excavate the ground, then it's expanding for something. It is expanding to be filled with something else. So now that we begin to excavate the things in life that tried to come and cause our dirt to maybe, I used to, when I was growing up as a little girl, we had what I call the dungeon, which sometimes can be called a basement, but it wasn't carved out, wasn't excavated. So it wasn't good for use. Only thing we did was stored stuff down there. And eventually those things that were stored down there became tainted. So we need to go in and remove that excess material from life. And that's what happens too with the pearl. The pearl is now going to be excavated from the oyster. The shell is going to be pulled back with an instrument. It's a whole process. Check it out.
Okay. We got about less than 2 minutes left of the show. There's a poem you mentioned before you came on the show that you did mention a poem. You mentioned a poem. I want to hear the poem.
All right, let's do this poem. If you want me ready for me to do it now, because it's about
we got less than 90 seconds. Let's do it.
She is well. She is a well. She is the core of it all. She keeps us all enthralled, held together by her love glue. Undivided, harmonious, and true. UNITY, that's a unity. When you see her glow, you better know that she paid a price for that flow. She, SHE, stands for strengthened, healed, and established. She is sound in mind, steady in character, healed, and totally fulfilled. Established, but guess what? She's still chill. She is PLANTED, planted, positioned by love, always noble, trustworthy, effervescent, and determined, immovable being, rooted by the flowing streams, a well of life. She is a kingdom storage center, regenerating, restoring, and reviving, producing new life, thriving and striving all at the same time. She is humble and empowering too. She is a reflection of God's beauty. She is well.
Yay!
Wow. That was
love it.
Fantastic.
I love it. Dr. Cooley's he's breaking up. But audience, thank you for joining us today with our special guest, Dr. Stacey Bulluck. The title of the show is Why She Is Well. Come join us on It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's your life. We love you. Thank you, Dr. Stacy, for being on the show. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Wow.